sunglasses on. It always seems to be when I come out just to prospect that I end up finding the best gold deposits and I end up having to film. Between my two feetsies here is a rock, but just in front of them is a gold pan, and that's what I got out of one singular bucket. That is a reasonable amount of gold for a single bucket. And for those of you playing at home, the 100 bucket challenge, this is bucket number 16, so our next one will be our 17th. I almost remember being 17. Almost. I came out here today to film a short on the gold claw pan, and it was a great success primarily because of this spot. I started test panning around that corner and I started finding gold about 50 meters beyond it, all the way down, all the way through the center and along those boulders, all the way through here, all the way up through here, all the way down there. That is a 75 to 100 meter stretch of gold bearing ground. And as usual, because I'm on a prospecting trip, I am not armed with a yabby pump or anything that I actually need. I've got a shovel, I've got a bucket, I've got a classifier, and I've got a gold pan. And I have an hour and a half before I have to be home. So, let's see what you got, gold gods. I'm up for an hour and a half of hard work. There's gold here, and there's gold there. And the only place I can pan off on is this tiny little bedrock shelf sitting in between the two. And no, the unnamed hardware store has not sponsored the channel yet. One public service announcement is YouTube likes to unsubscribe people from my channel. You should check if you think you're subscribed to make sure that you're still subscribed, because they've been unsubscribing people without yours or mine permissions. And that's like unconstitutional or something. Probably is in the US. The Australian Constitution is trash. This particular spot is a super far long distance away from the road, which is probably why it's so good. On Reedy Creek, if you can get smashed up decaying bedrock like this, it always has good gold in it, but it's super rare because all the easy spots to get to are well picked over. And I mean like picked over. In any of the popular spots, if you even found a small chunk of this at all, it would be like newspaper worthy. I love this classifier. Reedy Creek has been incredibly kind to me over the years, providing me with literally dozens of ounces of gold. However, gold is getting harder to find because of the interest in prospecting, and that means you have to get off the beaten track to find a bit. It literally takes 3.5 minutes to classify down a whole bucket of 1/4-inch material, utilizing Matt's bucket here. I'm gonna leave a link for them in the description below. He needs all the support he can get because these are wicked. First bucket. Mama always said life's like working a bucket on a gold field. You know you're gonna get a sore back, but you don't know how much gold you're gonna get. Something like that. I'm pretty sure that's what Forrest Gump said. Why won't you fall out of the bucket? Oh, there we go. Oh my God, it's so heavy. Yeah. I mean, that's just it, right? Unpredictable rewards, highs and lows. That's how gambling works. And there's no sort of Gamblers Anonymous for that. You can kind of tell how good a pan's going to be on Reedy Creek by how heavy it is, because the tin gets thick, and when it gets thick, it gets heavy. And this is a very heavy pan and a very heavy bucket. So far it's taken me about 3.5 minutes to process this entire bucket. That's not too bad if I do say so myself. A fair amount of dirt moved in under 10 minutes, including classifying. So if I can hit my 20th bucket today, I'll be real happy. Because when I started this 100 pan challenge, I was like, you know what? That's gonna be a physical challenge, but I could do it. And I'm 17 buckets in and I'm like, this is a lot of work. That's how you know you're on a good spot in Reedy Creek. All the tin and gemstones come out. Lordy, lordy, we've already got gold on the surface. I have a brand new DreamMac cleanup buddy system at home that I haven't used yet. So I'm saving all of this tin and all of this concentrate to go home and do that. Hopefully, it'll show me good color. Oh yeah. A little bit lighter than the last one, but still bloody good. There are richer and poorer sections of this area that I am working, but that's out of one bucket. I reckon if I move a little bit, we're going to find even better gold. Still not bad for 10 minutes work. Get in the claw. I don't have a lot of time left, so we're going to hyperlapse this, and you're going to see the results from the next pan real soon. So much faster when I'm not filming, oh my word. Hey, the cameraman. Hey, cameraman. It seems like I've found a good spot for gold overall, but the really rich parts are kind of sporadic. I'm not seeing as much black sand in this one as I did the last one. Alright, let's just get rid of the rest of those blonde sands. Oh yeah, we got some real good looking fine gold down there. That's a little ribbon of happiness. Literally no one asked, but my feet condoms aren't working too well today. I've already filled this one up with water. Nonetheless, we must see if we got golds. No, we got fine golds. Yeah, we did get golds. That's not very much for one bucket though. Sporadic pay streaks. Dagnabbit. I have a feeling we're going to hit rich pockets and we're going to hit poor pockets along this stretch. Still, that's a lot better than some of the spots I've worked in the past. Because of time reasons, I'm going to get my ass into gear and you're going to see me in 2 buckets time when we reach that magical 20 bucket mark. Bucket 19. I think I was right about there's going to be hot and poor spots in this little pay streak here, because that's the black sand from bucket 19 and it is a lot thicker. Yeah, we've got some nicer sized bits and way more of them. I am not going to argue with that for a result. There's more gold through the black sand too. I still think we're going to get a pretty good take by the end of today. Ladies and gentlemen, I finally present to you bucket 20. Similar amount of black sand, I'd say just a touch less, and probably the same amount of gold. Just a whole bunch finer, that's all. I'm really not sure how well we're going to do today, because there's some great pans and there's some very kind of average pans. Anyway you cut it, that is still a pretty decent take of gold for a single bucket of classified dirt, at least in my area, and given that most of what I'm working seems to be coming from sand. Alas, it is about time for me to go. So I'm going to sneak in a couple more buckets and then I'm going to go home and test out this new cleanup buddy. And just for funsies, I tipped all the concentrates out through the gold core, and that's what was caught in the riffles. These tiny little ones here. Look at that. Look at this ridiculous mess. Power! You've already seen me use this once, but at the time of recording the original video, which apparently is over there according to my hand, I hadn't used this at all. Now the cleanup buddy is a great little sluice to help you reduce your concentrates. However, it is a short run, so sometimes you need to do multiple passes. I love it. Some people will hate it. You know what? It's a free world, you can do whatever you want. The one thing you got to do on all Dream Mat cleanup sluices is reduce the air bubbles. These little air bubbles in the cells prevent any kind of dirt, including gold, from sinking into them. It's vaguely like popping pimples just before a date night. In other kind of bright news, I've been experimenting. Should be cold enough by now. Yep. Bob, guess what? Look at your ridiculous butt. I've made tin. So this piece of metal actually came out of that. Most of what you see here is made of cassiterite. Cassiterite is tin ore. If you heat it to 1150 degrees in the presence of a high carbon thing, and when I say thing, I'm just using charcoal from my fire bin, it turns this black annoying rock into that metal, which is brilliant. And it's brilliant because tin at the moment is 35,000 Australian dollars a ton, and cassiterite in Reedy Creek is up to 70% pure in tin, theoretically making this worth $157 a kilo. Anyway, I'm going to be tin mining in the future when my new furnace shows up, because this is a little small and cumbersome. Cassiterite melts at 1150 degrees, but the tin itself only melts at about 250. So there's going to be a lot of slag and impurities and whatnot in here. I just don't have the right setup to get this out perfectly and do everything I need to do. However, oh, yep, there we go. We just got several tin beads coming out of that. That just shot a tin strand straight out of the slag. Anyway, we're actually here for this, and then we've got a whole bunch of tin mixed in with it, but whatever. Normally I would classify this down, but it's all fairly similar in terms of particle size, so I'm not doing that today. As much of the concentrate as I can run has been put through the cleanup buddy. We've got a little bit of gold left in the bottom of the pan, we always do. We're seeing some pretty good colour come out in the mat, not nearly as good as my 6 gram day. Yo, I pulled over 6 grams of gold in one day panning from a spot nearby to the spot that I was working this session. Check it out, it's already on my channel. It's an unbelievable find. Now all the concentrates down here will have tailings loss. I'm not worried about that because we're going to clean this all up at the end of the 100 bucket challenge. And I'm going to be doing it with some mercury. So if you don't want to miss that, consider hitting the subscribe button there. If you'd like to support the channel, you can pick up some merch on the old moldy, or you can buy some pay dirt. Ooh yeah, I love seeing the gold come out of that mat. It is thick. Before I get down to the business of panning the rest of that out, that's the tin all cooled down. That's a single teaspoon's worth of cassiterite from Reedy Creek. And obviously I'm not an efficient tin smelter at this point, but that is a pretty cool little ignet. Hand panning is by far the most accurate way to pan down your cons, so that's why I like to finish on doing it. Hand panning means you recover most of the fine gold. I just use a tilt back and forth method. When I get a large amount of cons at the bottom like I have now, I'll come along with something like a snuffer bottle, and I'll just suck it up. I'm real curious to find out how much tin I got out of a single teaspoon. 3.23 grams. That actually makes this little ignet worth around 10 Australian cents. I know that doesn't seem like much, but this is a byproduct, and that's a single teaspoon. I think there's going to be a future for me in tin. As long as I can get a big enough furnace to melt like 12 kilos at a time. Because if I can melt 12 kilos at a time and it's $157 a kilo, I might walk away with like 4 kilos, 5 kilos of pure tin out of this. 5 kilos of pure tin, that's over 500 bucks. Nice. I reckon around half a gram. We'll probably be over that, but there is some dirt in it, so half a gram? Oh, there we go. Oh, well, including the dirt, we almost got a gram out of that. 0.983, obviously it's dirty, that will all get cleaned up. Let's say it's probably around a 0.8. That's pretty bloody good, considering I wasn't out there going to work a deposit. I just went out with a bucket to have a look.